ready.
So there are basically three kinds of documents generally that our students will encounter in our classroom. There are written documents, visual documents, and data-driven documents. And for all of them, the process of interpretation is pretty similar, and I break it down into a two-part process. You look at, and then you look through. To look at the document means that a student has to tell me what it says, and this is the step that most students often skip, or they think it's so obvious that they don't do it. So to look at the document, I tell them, requires your finger. Whatever you tell me in this step, you have to be able to put your finger on it, and let me show you what I mean. Here's a written document from the APUSH CED. First thing to put your finger on is the attribution, Republican Party Platform 1860. Now, don't skip to what it means yet, we're still looking at it. Okay, now to the document, what else can I put my finger on? And by the way, this is really helpful for them to see you demonstrate what I'm doing here. First thing I see is the phrase normal condition, and that refers to territory in the United States. Okay, and what is the normal condition? Well, freedom. And what does it mean that freedom is the normal condition? Our Republican fathers abolished slavery in all Western territory. And then I could put my finger on a quote. And as a student, I probably don't know that this quote comes from the Fifth Amendment, but that's okay because look at what I can put my finger on next. This provision of the Constitution. Okay, so that quote comes from the Constitution. And then the rest is saying that Republicans will uphold that normal condition by legislation. Okay, so now I understand what the document is saying. Now let's move to looking through it, or to put it another way, we ask, what does this mean? And this is where I look at 1860 in the Republican Party platform and I ask, what do I know about these two things? Well, the date is on the eve of the Civil War, and a party platform is a document explaining what the Republicans believe about how the United States should be governed. And this is where I draw the conclusion that the Republicans argue that the status of slavery in the Western territories should remain as it has always been, namely prohibited. So then, in order to use this document to support an argument, I want my students to summarize the document in 1 to 2 sentences, and my summary would look like this. On the eve of the Civil War, the newly formed Republican Party promised that if their candidate was elected, they would work to pass legislation to prohibit slavery in the Western territories, and by their reckoning, this was a constitutional necessity. Okay, now